In this episode, I sit down with James Kelly from Quayside Construction. James recently joined our academy for us to support him in scaling his business to the next level. James is a phenomenal guy who, with my help, has shifted his mindset from 150 quid a day to over £2 million worth of projects in his pipeline. An incredible change for the better, I'm sure you'll agree. We chew the fat on lots of different strategies for when running a refurbishment project, and James shares his ideal client as well as the stresses that come with CIS and VAT. It's a great episode. It felt like we could have spoken for hours. James, welcome, and thanks for coming down for the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Who are you? Introduce yourself. I know you're James.
I'm James, Manager Director of Quayside Construction and a Director of Construct, which you know of. Mm-hmm. I came from being on the tools and then being mentored from you to now being off the tools and running two really good companies. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Right at the beginning. Okay. I come from a town called Colburn.
Where?
Colburn.
That's not a real place.
Catterick.
Catterick. I know Catterick is, yeah.
Catterick's like on the arse. Colburn's on the arse of Catterick.
Yeah.
It's quite a run-down area, council estatey, but I'm very proud to come from there, to be honest. My mum, as you know, I've talked about before, she brought me up. She was mum and dad. She worked 2 jobs to feed me and my brother. So I've got a good grounding, from all them experiences from that, which I'm really grateful for. And then from then, went to school, didn't really go to school. And I did what every other man did who's got no education. I joined the military from there.
Yeah.
And then I left then and went contracting abroad. Working in the Middle East, doing life support and building camps for big oil and gas companies. Mm-hmm. Then from then on, I went and started my own construction company up. Started from little jobs, as you do, like your TV on the wall, you say. Yeah. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I met you and it got even more bigger. And here we are now, sat with you doing a podcast.
You met me and it got all bigger.
It got more stressful.
Story of people's lives.
That went dark.
Yeah. So, going from being on the tools to starting a construction business and growing a construction business, the transition of coming off the tools, I find, for the trades is the most challenging part, where they go, if I'm not on the tools, how do I earn money? How does my business earn money? So if someone on the tools came and asked you that question, what would you say?
How do you make money not being on the tools? How do you remain productive? Is that the question?
No. So most tradesmen have a belief, like you did, that they exchange time for money.
Yes.
So I'm going to go and price up a job, and my worth is 150 quid a day or 200 quid a day or whatever that is. So me exchanging that time for money, for a value, for an output, maybe I'm hanging a telly, maybe I'm building a wall, maybe I'm putting a stud wall up, whatever that is, I'm being paid for that piece of work. Mm-hmm. Now, how do I now step off the transition piece of stepping off the tools and actually building the wall or swinging the door or whatever it is? How do I not do that? The tasks still happen and I still get paid.
So the delivery's still there, and all you do is you internally promote yourself.
Yeah.
That's pretty much happens. You now leverage other people's time. Yeah. Now, there's 2 other ways you can do this. You can either employ your staff, your work team, which I think is a really bad idea, but people do it. Yep. Or you can subcontract and manage them subcontracts accordingly, which is what I do. I leverage their time. Mm-hmm. I feel like I get better productivity out of them.
Yeah, totally agree.
Massively. I think if you employ your staff, which some of my competitors do, fine, whatever, what motivation have they got to get up and do excellent standard of work for you? Yeah. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I agree.
They haven't really.
And they get paid anyway as well.
And they get paid anyway. They could sit on their arse and eat the dinner all day and have 10 cups of tea or 10 fag breaks, and they don't care. They're still going to get paid. Mm-hmm. But if you put a contract on a price, how much you do that job to that standard, that's their motivation. Yeah. And that's our motivation too. Yeah. It just passes down. So I learned that way quite quickly. So more about my background. I've actually come from a bit of a corporate background as well. When I left the military, I did a lot of resettlement in health and safety. I'm health and safety qualified up, got my level 5 diploma, was chartered status in IOSH, and I've done my ISO 18.
I didn't know that about you.
I've done my ISO 18,000, 14,000, 22. I think 18's changed to 45 now. Lead autos, so I've got all that. So I understand the systemization of everything. So when I went on your course, and you were stopping me in bits of that course as well and saying, are you all right? Because I was just gazing pretty much straight through you, listening to you, thinking, what the hell have I been doing? Because I knew that these systems existed, I was just very naive to think of implementing it into my business.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for the people. I did it when I was in Iraq. You know, I was doing it for the people, these massive blue chip companies. So now I've actually just took it all.
But when it came to doing it for yourself, you didn't do it?
No.
Mate, that's exactly the same as me.
Well,
Why is that?
I don't know.
So when I started my construction company, my background was the military, like you, and corporate construction.
Yeah.
So the only thing I knew was discipline, process, procedure, systems. And then when I started my own business, I wanted to rebel against all that. And I don't know why, but it cost me fucking thousands.
And stress.
In stress, wasted time, inefficiency, losses, waste, like mismanagement. And then when you have that realization of, like, I know how to put this right, and then you do put it right, you kind of look back and kick yourself and go, why haven't I always done this when this is what I know?
Well, yeah. I think a lot of it is it's the norm, isn't it? So you get a lot of trades, you'll see them with vans signed up, loads of them, 12, 15 vans in the same company, and you think, well, that's the way you need to do it. But it's almost like matrix stereotype, isn't it? It's not, is it? You don't have to do it that way. Because when you look even bigger than that, look bigger than the local firms around you, your Eric Wrights, your Waitseys, your BAM Constructions, all them big boys. They're just big project management companies.
100%, yeah.
They don't employ carpenters. They employ power teams.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't implement the same strategy on the trades. Now, when I come support you on your trade summits and stuff, and I know, because we've been there as well, I can't afford to just come off the tools. Well, I couldn't, but I did.
Yeah.
I made that decision, bosh.
Yeah.
And I knew I had 3 months to make it work, otherwise I'm in the shit.
Yeah.
But you have to make it work.
Yeah, yeah.
We're entrepreneurs, we need to be under stress, and that's what you have to do. It's a challenge. You're either going to do it or you're not. How much do you want it? You know, the work is there. There's lots of work. So yeah, them big boys do it. Look beyond your local firms, go a bit higher, look at your bigger companies, exactly what they do. If you implement it in your company, it's more productive, and that's why they do it.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And you make more money.
Totally. And what's your target customer now? Construction and Quayside.
So with
Who's that
Quayside,
working with?
yeah. So with Quayside, I quite like the refurbishment projects. Your 6-figure, even your 5-figure ones if they're at volume.
Yeah.
You know,
for property investors, for domestics,
investors, anybody. You know, landlords, investors, project to project. I don't care who it is. You know, if the work's there, the work's there. I'm currently going through. I've got quite a lot going on at the moment, but I've got a domestic client who's turning her commercial into residential property at the moment. It's an old factory, and she's living in it, and she wants to make it a completely residential property, which is actually just a normal domestic client. So that work is there. I do prefer working with commercial clients on the basis that the process is easier. You know, you're not working in Sharon's house.
Yeah.
You know, you're working on someone's business, which is a small professional environment, which I like.
Yeah, less emotion.
There's less emotion, and I like that. You're not personally investing in. Well, you are personally investing, but you haven't got that personal.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Do you know what I mean? It's horrendous working on someone's house when they're still there, and you know. So that's my ideal client.
Yeah.
Really.
So, ideal client comes along.
Yeah, go on.
And hopefully this will be educational for them listening.
Right.
Ideal client comes along. Property investor comes along.
Yeah.
James, I love the cut of your jip. Will you do me a refurbishment of this HMO?
Yeah.
Turn this house into a HMO, should I say? What's like the biggest pain point for you in
Paul.
in that inquiry?
We just talked about this recently, and this is more. Actually, no, they all do it. They all do it. You can't price something when you've got nothing to price. I get it a lot. I get it more so with investors. The beauty with domestic clients in this environment is they're under your command. They don't do extensions every day. It's their house. Why would they? So they don't know. So you kind of coach them through that process, and you know, which is nice in a way. But when you're using commercial clients like your investors, I get it all the time. They'll give you floor plans. I want to stick from Rightmove. I want to stick a 5-bed HMO in here, 4-bed HMO in here. How much is it going to cost me? You think, well, what am I pricing here? You know, where's your fire line strategy? Where's your builder's drawings? Am I having to fire line anywhere? You know, what finishing specs?
I'm just looking for a ballpark, mate.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be about, yeah.
You can't do it.
No.
You just can't price something that's not there to price. But they don't get it. And it's hard. It's actually a point where I get their frustration. They're on about buying a property. They want to know, does it stack before they bought it? Well, unfortunately, that's down to your due diligence. You can give me an allowance that you're going for that project, and I can see if I can manage that expectation. If you're going to give me a 2 up, 2 down, and say, I want this to be a buy-to-let refurb, I've got 30 grand in it, well, maybe. If you can tell me you're going to do your 5 to 10k flips, I'm not interested, because the stress to reward is do it yourself.
Yeah.
You probably make £500 on that, which I'm running a business. I want to help you.
Yeah.
But I'm not running a charity, and I hate that. But it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very much true. So you need to have an expectation what kind of client for the tradies as well. What kind of ballpark are you willing to drop down to? I won't take anything less, project-wise, than 40 grand really, just because of that stress and reward. But that's down to how other people are different. Yeah. The only exceptions, which I'm doing at the moment, is my volumes. So I've got an investor who's given me a load of Serco properties at the moment, 6 I've got going on. But they're all 5-figure jobs around that. I don't mind that because I'm getting the volume. My build team's going to just go. Yeah. Once it's planned right.
So something below 40. It's interesting because I have that same number. When I was trading my construction company, that was my threshold also. But I'm interested to know your reasons around 40k is the minimum. I've got my reasons.
The reasons for that really is my overheads, to be honest. Yeah. It's got to be worth it.
Yeah, so we're saying they can't afford to pay your prelim, your headroom that's needed.
Pretty much.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, it sounds bad, but that's pretty much what it is.
Don't sound bad, mate. That's fucking business.
It is business, I mean, I'm not a white van man. I'm not a guy who doesn't declare tax or anything. I do declare all these things. I am completely legit with my company. Yeah. So not only have I got overheads, which they're not responsible for, granted, but then I've also got profits as well, which I'm completely transparent about. Interestingly though, I've just had a meeting with an architect a couple of weeks ago who introduced me to a method that I've never done before, which I think is fantastic. It's cost plus. Yep. I think that's great. Yeah. You just tell them what your UHPs are, 20%, and then...
Yeah, cost plus is a great model. Technical term is prime cost. We call it cost plus. I think that's a colloquial term actually. Right. But JCT know it as prime cost. And what that model looks like is simply everything's delivered to the client at cost, and then they just pay you the markup, which is it's all open book. Yeah. The problems with that, sharing this from a consumer point of view, from a customer perspective, is where's the incentive for the builder to deliver cost at what I'm going to deem to be? Yeah. Like, how are you going to be driving down that cost, owing to the fact that you as a service provider in that relationship, your profit's largely geared around how much I spend as a consumer. Yeah. So if I spend 40 and let's say we're on a 20% plus, you make 8k. But if you spend 60 at cost, you now make 12k. So where's the incentive for you to drive the cost down, the defined cost?
Well, you're kind of relying on your QS prices there, aren't you?
Yeah, and there's a lot of trust involved as well, is the other thing, which is something that you've got to really nail before you jump into a cost plus project. I've been in one myself actually, and it didn't end well. The reasons being, cost was never defined. So my interpretation of cost in the relationship that I did, it was a big project, was that everything was cost. So fuel, site managers, toilet roll, fucking toilet cleans. Well, I know it is. Yeah. But the customer didn't realise that, and I had not done a good job of explaining it. So their interpretation of the word defined cost was labour and materials. That's it. Anything beyond that's on me. That was their definition. But mine was wholly different. Mine was everything that's I'm paying for is now cost. Yeah. I'm site manager's wages, visits, building control, planning, consultancy fees, architectural fees, drawings, blah 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 blah. The list went on and on and on. And he got quite the nasty shock when the invoices started landing, and then the plus was on top.
So how did that end?
The project went under in the end, and he sold it. But the statement I made at the end of it was never I'd never do that again. It was very much like we need to get really clear on our definitions when we are discussing this with a customer.
Yeah.
Like the word cost, what does that mean? The word plus, like what does that mean? So if I'm going into a cost plus or a prime cost project, that initial cost, what is included in that? Like, are you paying my van leases?
Yeah.
Is it fuel, AdBlue? I'm not even kidding. We're going into this detail now.
Right.
Mobile phone contracts. You know, if the business is wholly being invested in that one project, then it's really important to be clear before anything starts what the definition of cost is before we start, and what gets a plus put on it as well as the other thing. That was the other thing. So let's take mobile phone. So if I've got a 30 quid direct mobile phone cost because I've set up a site office phone for that project, am I now putting a plus on top of that or not? And if you don't get into that nitty gritty, and I mean that real nitty gritty, it's going to cause a row, especially when margins are tight as well for the client.
I can see that.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, totally. My favourite structure is the management structure, where you just hire me as a PM and pay me on a retainer, and then all the money flows direct to the subcontract supply chain from the customer. That's my favourite model.
Could you run more than one of them at the same time?
Yeah.
Quite easily.
Yeah.
I guess you could just expand your PM team.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's scalable then.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Okay.
Totally. Then in that model, the client gets the benefit of not paying main contractor markup on subcontract costs, and they also benefit from the likelihood of them subcontractors not being VAT registered, so they're not paying through you and having your VAT markup on top of us. So we've got a sub invoice. Let's say we've got a flat sub invoice of 100k. My main contractor markup goes on top of that to make it 120. Yeah. And then I've got VAT on top of that to make it 144. Yeah. So there's a 44k saving just from the money flow alone. Straight away. Yeah.
That's what I didn't know. I found out the other day. The lady who works for me, Helen, she informed me, thankfully, is that your let's say I'm main contractor, you're my client, I'm charging you VAT, but my subcontractor shouldn't be charging me VAT. Domestic VAT relief, something like that.
Yeah, do a reverse charge VAT.
That's it.
Yeah.
Which I've just found that out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, when you're VAT registered, it all washes its face in the end anyway. And everybody gets it all back. It's just a cash flow problem, isn't it?
It's just more complicated.
Yeah.
You know?
I hate fucking VAT.
But it's communicating that to your men, to your build teams, you know. We are just tax collectors.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Yeah. I hate that, me. That's one of the things in the game I really hate. It just, like, collecting tax for the government, it just seems so fucking wrong.
It does.
And who's the one that gets the blame? Is the builder. It fucking does my head in.
It does with your domestic clients, that is a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah, when you're B2B, not so much, because everybody's getting it back anyway.
Yeah, I did it recently with a refurb. I put a price in, I think it was like 50k plus VAT. Because if I was to put, what was that, 60k then? Fucking hell, but if you put 50k plus VAT, then, you know, it looks a bit more attractive, right? It's not me being sneaky, it's perception, isn't it?
Oh, it's also a fact. It's also 50k plus the VAT, yeah.
You know, I've had it before. I'm not getting that. I wish I did. It should just go to somewhere else, you know? Nothing to do with me. Yeah, it's frustrating. VAT is frustrating. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
CIS is another thing. It's quite, in our positions, it is annoying.
Do you know how many developers I speak to that are completely oblivious to CIS? And they hold that liability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's mad.
Yeah.
I had, I won't mention any names, but there was a family friend. Well, she's part of the family. And she was asking I asked her what she was up to now, and she said she's getting into basically project managing, but she's not a background, she's a designer. An interior designer, and I was speaking to her about it, and she's got like this 7-figure job going on, and I could, so many red flags was going straight away. She hasn't got the skills, you know, to do it, or the experience. I'm not saying she can't, I'm saying, but do you know what you're jumping into it, you know? So I said, look, if you need me, just ring me up, and I'm happy. I'll be open. I've got the experience and the skills. Just ring me up, and I can help you. It's fine. Okay, and I get a phone call on my family moon. And the conversation was, so what your job? Are you project manager? Yeah. So how are you paying your contractors? Well, the client's paying the contractors, right? So you have to pay CIS. So who's the main contractor? Well, I am, because I'm organising all the trades. So you're the principal contractor then? She goes, well, yeah, I guess so. Because do you know what you need to be doing to be a principal contractor legally? He goes, well, no, not really. I'm like, well, and I blurted a load of F10s and all this kind of stuff. Says you need to be really, really, really careful about what you're doing here. If your client is insistent on paying the trades, make them the PC as well. Make them the principal contractor as well. Do not have that on you. If you don't have that experience, do not do it. Do not be the main contractor. Because I said, have you got your Gantt chart for your program? I said, no, I was hoping the builder would do that. I said, but the builder's doing the knock-throughs for you. They don't give a fuck when the painters are coming in. Why would they? They're going to do knock-throughs and they're going to piss off.
Yeah.
So you need to do it. And how are you going to do that if you haven't got that knowledge to do so? So look, I'll help you, but there's a lot. This is more to this than you think.
Yeah.
And there really is. There's a lot.
Yeah,
of people.
there is, mate. I mean, there's so many folks think, especially in the property game, that there's a belief that project management's just checking in on a Friday, taking some photos and sending them on WhatsApp,
getting your sliders,
carrying a baby on a Facebook Live. But that whole, like, project management is such an undervalued profession, I believe, especially in construction.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm a project manager. How much is it to hire you? It's 50, 60, 70 grand a year, whatever that figure is, depending on where we are in the UK and the complexity of the job. 70 grand a year. And they see that as the immediate saving. And when you chip out that professional service from your costs, who's going to do it? Because there's not only a legal, but there's a financial responsibility to provide management of a project, especially a complex one. And so if you're not going to hire a project manager, who's managing the project?
Yeah.
Like it's a really simple question.
Are you doing it?
So you're doing it? Yeah, I'll do it myself. I'll save 70k. Okay. Like, what does that look like for you? Well, I'll just check in on a Friday. And you're like, no, mate, it's fucking not just that.
It's
not just checking a Friday, exactly. Yeah, you've got a legal responsibility to supervise the workforce first and foremost. We've got to manage the project itself, manage program, manage gear, manage materials, manage quality, manage safety, manage standards, manage time, manage money. And if you're not doing any of that, guess what? It's not getting managed.
No. It'll cost you.
Yeah, totally. So I want to just jump a bit deep into your thinking, if we can. You touched on it at the start of the episode, where you went from being on the tools into being now a business owner. What changed in you for you to go from, my name's James Kelly, I'm worth 150 quid a day, to my name's James Kelly, I'm the managing director of Quayside Construction and Constructs Construction. We've got £1.8 million worth of work in tender right now. More. So what changed in you to go from 2.5 million? So we've gone from 150 quid a day thinking to 2.5 million and off the tools thinking.
I wish I knew it sooner, but I guess everything happens for a reason if you believe in that stuff. I think once you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur, right? And if you recognise...
Are you saying entrepreneur or ultrapreneur?
Entrepreneur.
Are you saying ultra?
How should you say it?
It's hunter is the proper word.
I just want to do an ultra. I want to do an ultra.
Spin on the word.
Entrepreneur.
You are saying
I think if you recognise the signs early, when you're growing up, I think you either are or you're not. And I was, and I wish I recognised it sooner. The transition from me being on the tools to now was, I made the decision that, look, life's going incredibly quick. I want a better life. Just fucking give it a go. What's the worst that's going to happen? Spoke to the missus and she says, do it. Because I was running a maintenance company and I was quite happy jobbing. And I was going to the pub on the Friday, spending waxing 150 quid. I rarely drink now, but 150 quid, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid. But there's more to life than that, and I want to leave something for my kids. I said to my daughter the other day, she says, Dave, I'm doing this for you. I want to hand this over to you one day. Then my boy as well. And she started crying. She's only 9, 10. I mean it. I'm not just saying it for an effect. I want to. This is my legacy to you guys. You know what I mean? I'm all or nothing. That's all it is. I'm giving it my go. I'm going swinging. And it's working really well. I've had my struggles, as you know. First, when I came to you, which is an interesting story in itself, because I was giving you shit online, on TikTok, about damp proofing. Yeah,
trolling
you a little bit.
Then you bought my course, then rang up for a refund.
I did. Yeah. And then I came on.
And now look at you.
I know. Do you know what it was, though? It was the 5-dayer, and I just thought, because there's loads of scammers out there, and there is. especially in the mentoring world. There's loads of people taking people's money, and I thought I'm not getting done over there because it's not cheap, but it's an investment in yourself. And I've told you a bit about my corporate qualifications. That in itself cost me a fortune. You know, a lot of money, over 10 grand, 10, 15 grand. I'm like, I hope I get something back for this, and it's the best thing I ever did. Not blowing smoke up your ass, but if you remember me from that course, I just spent the entire course just staring, like taking it all in. I don't even remember the 4-hour drive back. It was more like, I need to do this now. And I'm reaping the rewards for it now. I mean, I have so much more lifestyle balance now. I wake up, I go in the river in the morning, then I go to the gym.
The fucking weirdo.
I know. And I go to work for 7:30. So nothing changes.
Yeah.
Then I'm back home being a dad at 3 o'clock, picking the boy from nursery and being a dad for my daughter, and they go to bed and I'm back at work again.
So what was life like when you're on the tools? How did that look? Was that morning dips and gym, hunt 3 with the kids? No.
I don't get how people can. Kudos to any builder out there who can fucking get up, go to work, you know yourself, and then go to gym afterwards.
Yeah, it's not happening. Work is the gym, innit?
It really was, but it comes with loads of other shit as well.
Yeah.
It comes with eating a sandwich, 2 packs of crisps, 2 chocolate bars and a fizzy kind of pop.
Yeah.
And what happens then? You feel like shit.
Yeah.
And you feel like shit. You go to Greg's or you go to the pub after work.
Yeah.
It's just a bad circle to be in.
Yeah, and it's fucking on repeat.
It's on repeat every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And then, might work Saturday. And
catch up.
Catch up, and then it impacts your home life because you're not at home all the time. And I work a lot of hours anyway. Even now, I do it because I do it when the kids are in bed, or I do it when I can. But I enjoy it, and my family aren't really affected. But when you're doing it on the tools, you're impacting everybody.
Yeah, totally.
You really are.
Totally.
Your house doesn't get finished.
I think that's the same way. Every builder, mine's the same.
Do you think? Here's an interesting question for you. Do you think there's a skill shortage in young men or women not getting into the trades at the moment?
Do I think there's a skills shortage of people not coming into the industry?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But I don't believe that's anything the industry's done. I believe, which is contrary to popular belief, I believe that people have figured out quicker, better, easier ways to make money than graft.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's 10 and she's already telling me how I can monetize YouTube.
That's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, Paris is working on that for us as a training organisation for this industry. But she's talking about things like making a fucking burger.
Really?
Yeah, a burger is my favourite food, right?
Right.
And when I'm making one, she wants to film it and put it on YouTube. She's going, millions of views this, Dad, millions of views, and you'll get paid X and that and the other. And I think that's what young people have worked out, that there's easier, better ways. And, utilising artificial intelligence and, trading stock from Amazon online and buying and selling and...
E-com, isn't it? Is it e-com?
Yeah, these things that are complete alien to me. I'm nearly 50. Do you know how many times I've said that this week, actually? It's because these fucking remind me of it all the time. You're nearly 50, you're nearly 50. And I go, I'm fucking not. And I am. So at 48, like, all this stuff's completely alien to me. And I sit and it's like, why aren't people becoming tilers, plasterers, brickies? Well, I'll tell you why. Because why would they?
Yeah.
Not why aren't they, why would they? I think that's a much better question. Like, there's not enough incentives in the industry for... But I mean, look, the industry is not protected at all. We've got no regulation. We've got no licensing. We've got no accountability to standards. Like, look at any other industry. Banking, IT, finance, airlines. We've got the CAA, we've got the FCA. You've got all these associations that protect these industries and help that industry grow, even health and safety. There's nothing for the construction industry.
No.
Nothing at all, unless you're a gas or a sparky. And then we've got some set of regulation. But why that regulations for those two trades aren't flat out ran across the whole as a whole actually is beyond me, blows my mind.
So do you think there has to be a point then where you can see them TikTok videos, get rich quick, become a plumber, because there's a shortage? And I believe that'll happen. And that's going to happen soon.
Everything goes full circle, mate.
Yeah,
everything.
That's going to happen soon. That'll happen in our lifetime.
Because we've all got... Plumbing is fucking getting water from A to B, right? There's always going to be a need for getting water from A to B and power from board to socket. There's always going to be a need for that. And the government need to do something about it, not only protecting the industry, we've got to protect the consumer as well from this Wild West industry that's unregulated. Because it is unregulated. Anybody can hire any builder to do anything on their home.
Yeah.
There is no checks, balances in process process at all. And everybody's kind of left to their own devices to figure out how that process should be. You know, and they go to YouTube and they go on TikTok and they go on Facebook and how to hire a builder, and then you've got sites like fucking Checkertrade and My Builder and Rated People. They've got a fucking lot to answer for because they spout a rhetoric that for me is fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
That, you know, they take this process for Mrs. Miggins to hire a builder, and if you look at that process, it's fucking gash.
Have you answered the questions on it?
And no one's ever going to do it. That's the other thing. It's all right writing a process out, but if that process is not going to be followed, it's a fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
What needs to happen is government needs to step in, regulate the industry, and create safe spaces for clients and for service providers. And in order for those relationships to blossom, and I mean, when you buy a house and you go and hire a solicitor, I'll be honest, I don't know of anybody that carries out any proper due diligence on said solicitor, because that industry is regulated. And I think it's the same for a bank. Do we actually go into Barclays, Lloyds, all these banks that are in the high street? For me, I'll be honest, I pick my bank because I like the fucking logo the best. It's a regulated industry. They all follow the same set of rules. So I don't need to get into that because I'm being looked after by this overarching authority. Now, I don't know if you know this, about 12 months ago, I lobbied government with a petition. Me and Jeff Smith did it, the Roofing Outlaw. And that was, along these lines, it was getting licensing around the construction industry into all trades. And the response was, you won't believe what the response was. If that happened, there'd be so many people that would leave the industry and the consumer won't be able to get any work done. That's fucking crazy. That was the feedback from our petition. I don't know who looks at it or where that comes from. I imagine they get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of petitions per day, but that was the initial feedback, yeah.
So what's your follow-up to that?
I don't have one. There is no follow-up process.
I don't think it'll ever change then.
No, I don't.
That's a shame.
It is, yeah. Now we've had a change in government. Will things change? I don't know. You know, it's for me, I'll just keep doing what I do, and that's to educate the masses on working with builders, for builders growing their companies and for developers working in this industry. And the more I can bring that together to create harmony in this game, like, the better it is. If I can create a situation where a developer wins, a client wins, a tenant wins, a builder wins, a bank wins, a lender wins, if everybody wins, like that is possible. But only when everybody wants everybody to win.
So what would your regulatory body look like for the construction industry?
What would it look like? I guess it'd look like all of the others. So there'd be an overarching council, an overarching authority that sets a set of regulations with a process of which to engage. RIBA have got, so the Royal Institute of British Architects, they've got a process, but it's only the architects that follow it.
Right.
I don't know any builder that follows a RIBA process.
I don't even know about it.
There you go. You know, I imagine that, you know, your likes of BAM and Balfour Beatty's and all these companies, they follow the same process, but it's actually really good and really clear. But it's so in depth and it's so, I don't want to use the word convoluted because that's got a negative connotation to it, but it's very complex is probably a better word. It's quite a complex process to go through and apparently slow. To look at it, you would think that's going to take me fucking ages. And because of that, you know, this is a profit-driven business, because of the time it takes to implement that process, it kind of gets shelved and put to one side.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you wouldn't have a body like the NICIC who would issue a license to a general builder? Yeah,
I think that's a good idea. Like, why would it not? I mean, they tried it with CSCS cards, but that's only relative to safety, and that's a misconception that people have. Like, CSCS is quite simply a safety qual, and that is it. Nothing more.
No, it's
nothing to do with quality, cash flow, standards, nothing. Quite simply, I know how to climb up a fucking ladder and not die.
Well, they try, don't they? They try and give you a different colour for different trade.
Yeah.
No, what does that mean?
But it is only relative to safety, CSCS, which is a common misconception. If I've got a CSCS card in joinery, it doesn't mean necessarily I know how to put a staircase in. It means I know how to use a chop saw without cutting my fucking arm off. And that's it. I love how this has turned on you fucking questioning me. Great. I like how you did that. That's what I just realised. But it was good I got to plug myself there. It's the first time I've actually done that, I think. What did I want to ask you then? It was, so when you made that transition, like my wife struggled with this, so I don't know how Jess was with this. When you went from a job in build, a 150 a day, to I'm building this fucking 7-figure construction company. Because for Jess, that's happened like that, right?
It has, yeah.
You've been on a week's course, and on the fucking Friday, you were driving home for 4 hours thinking about it. You've got home and told your missus that's what's going to happen. How did she feel?
Well, she felt... She's very supportive, as Jess, to be fair. Very, very supportive. Very, very lucky. She'd follow me into battle, she would. She really would.
She's very lucky. You mean?
I'm very lucky.
She's very lucky.
She's a lucky cow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know how she felt. I don't know. I kind of got a bit selfish. Mm-hmm. Was it narcissistic of me? I don't know. It was more of, I'm doing this and you're coming with me when I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. Because the risk is on me, really. Everything, if it all went to sour, I know that she could handle the burden for a month or so. But what would be the worst that would happen? I'd have to go back on the tools again. Yeah.
Is she in the business or does she work herself?
No, she's a social worker for the NHS.
Yeah.
Quite high up. So she works very hard as well. The only thing that did impact us was the home life, because initially I had to work even harder to set everything up.
Yeah.
Get the extension finish when I was on that course with you. Tie up loose ends through Christmas, and then bosh, January. But it got harder emotionally and for me and her, because I brought it home with me, was when I spoke to you on the course. I had about 4 massive jobs lined up, and I had that hotel, the 42-bedroom hotel, which is still ongoing. That's nearly a year now. And I was waiting for that. That's one of the reasons why I came off the tools, thinking, well, I'm going to go straight into this, bosh. I had that supermarket, which is still ongoing. I had loads of stuff that was ongoing, and I was waiting for them. So I spent 3 months thinking, it'd be next month, it'd be next month, it'd be next month. And then my bank balance went all the way down, and I thought, I need to pull my finger out my arse here. I need to get out there and start networking and forget about them. And it literally took me a week of just pure smashing it, like I was a superhero in my own movie. I had to just on the phone constantly, and before you know it, I've done really well since then, but I needed that 3 months of shit, that 3 months of struggle, of really being on my arse, to be where I am now. It's fantastic, and it just keeps on growing. I'm growing at a really quick rate.
Yeah, good.
But strategically, I've got
that's important.
Systems in place. I've got support in place. Helen's the backbone at the moment.
She's your operations manager, right?
She is, yeah. So basically, she's come in and she built a multi-million-pound construction company and then sold it off. And she got it in debt and then managed to fruition it and sell it on for massive profits. And I became really good friends with her, and I brought her on board. She's in the latter end of her career, so she's full of knowledge, and I need it, And she's helping at the moment systemize my contract administrations, my finances. I don't touch any of this. Helen manages the entire thing, so I couldn't do it on my own. I just do delivery at the moment and get the work in. The next step is bring her out of that position, bring her into my position, or and help me scale this position, the delivery side of things. Then I can step up again. You can't just start hiring project managers and you'd be fucked.
Yeah. Do you know, I wish I had that 3 months of pain that you just spoke about when I left corporate. This is one of the things that I think did it stall my growth? Probably not. So this had. It's interesting you say that. So when I left my corporate job to set up my own company, I got a really healthy redundancy package, and that made me quite reckless in the decisions that I made, but it also made me a little bit lazy. When I knew I needed to make a sale, I could kind of put it off because I had this big pot of cash. Yeah. And it was, I'll make that fucking call tomorrow. Yeah. But if I'd have been on my arse, that call had been getting made there and then.
When you have to.
Yeah, and I believe I would have gone further quicker from being skint than what I did from having some cash in the bank. Again, on the polar opposite side of that is I was really reckless with purchasers, setting accounts up. I didn't give a fuck. It was just I did exactly that. Brand new van, yeah. Transit van got delivered on the drive on the first day of trading.
40 grand van, bosh.
Yeah, and mate, the first job I did, right, when I transitioned from corporate to my own business, I still had my company car that I worked for, and I had a Range Rover.
Yeah.
And so I did my TV, hanging my TV on my kid's bedroom wall, 40 quid.
Yeah.
My second job was a brick wall, garden wall.
900 quid.
900, it was 910, yeah, but 900 quid. Look how you remember that. That's what I went in, my Range Rover. So I had a mixer that went in the back of the Range Rover. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Pack of bricks, fucking cement. I had mashed dust sheets.
Pack of bricks as well.
Yeah. And I pulled up at this guy's house, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my god.
Here? Guy's pulling up in a fucking 100 grand car, company car it was, coming up in a 100 grand car, and he's ragging the mixer out the back. And like I say, that's what made me reckless. In that I didn't give a fuck about anything because I had money in the bank.
Yeah.
How would it have been if it had been the other way around? If I'd been brassic at the time, how would that have looked? Like, I honestly don't know.
But I bet you've gone through struggles though through your business. I bet you've had it.
Oh fucking hell, yeah.
I think you have to.
Yeah, I mean, the toughest time, which is what you touched on at the start, was I didn't use subbies to begin with. I used directly employed, and I had 18 lads on the books within 6 months of trading when I first started.
So 18 lads on the books,
yeah,
30 grand a year.
Yep.
What's that quick math?
2.5 million.
A year you've had to find?
18 blokes.
Paz,
I need a
what's
calculator.
18 times?
30k.
30k. Because this is like one of my competitors, he does this.
Yeah.
And I can't, and he's got fleets, vans.
It's not 2.5 million, it's nowhere near that. It's about 600.
40 grand.
540
But you've got to
grand.
find that. And in the vans, insurances, tools.
Yeah, I had 6 vans.
Holy shit. I mean, that's...
Tools, the lot. And it was... The turnover didn't bother me because, you know, I had 1.1 in contracts at this point. You know, I had a couple of HMO investors we were doing projects for. I had a residential arm, maintenance arm. And when these lads started working for me, you said it right at the beginning. There was zero accountability for standards. That was the first thing. And I ended up paying employees to put right their own work, which really fucking grated on me. And one day, I came in the office the one morning, and I thought, where are 7 jobs running? One of the lads, this was the straw that broke the camel's back, if that's the phrase. He was doing a lintel job. I had a contract with a local window supplier, a window fitter. Whenever they went on a job, if they took the old window out and there was no lintel behind, they'd ring us and we'd come and put them in.
Yeah.
And this one lad, he went to this job. All the gear was on the van. He went along with the lintels and everything else. He's done the ground floor and he's put the tower up to do the upstairs windows. And he rings me up and he says, one of the clips is missing off this tower. And I said, what are you on about? He said, where the 2 sections clip together, the upstand at the second lift slots into the first lift.
Yeah.
And there's a pin that goes through, so the clip's missing. I said, I'll stick one on order, you just carry on doing that. There's 3 in the other legs. Carry on doing the lintel up tight. I'm not going up there.
Oh.
I said, what? He said, I'm not going up there until that clip's in. I said, well, I've ordered one. It'll be here tomorrow. Oh, I'll just go home then, shall I? I was like, no, there's 3 other clips in it. Put your fucking screwdriver in it if you have to and bend the fuck around. No, I'm not doing that. I thought he was taking the piss.
Yeah.
So I went to the job about 10:30 in the morning, whatever it was. And he was just fucking sat having a cup of tea. And I lost my fucking head.
Did you?
Yeah. I went, get back to the fucking office. So they all came back and I rang everybody. They all came back to the office and I sacked every one of them on the spot.
Did you?
Yeah. Every single one of them said, I'm fucking done with it. I'm done with fucking all of you. I'm sick of babysitting. I'm sick of trying to keep you all busy. I'm sick of mollycoddling you. I'm sick of fucking doing all this shit for you, for me to pay you. I've fucking had it. I kept one lad on who became my site manager. And from that day forward, I went in and we did subcontract from that day forward. My business fucking transformed overnight.
It's mega. I mean, same sort of thing, but in the military, and you'd have found it loads of times, bad leaders, bad managers, bad leaders. I know there's 2 different things, but it's fucking full of them. Even in Civvy Street, or more so in Civvy Street, I'd say. So the illusion using that model would be and I think I'm an excellent leader. People want to work for me. If I have that and have my own team of builders, then you can't go wrong. But I think you could be a fantastic leader to still won't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because there is no incentive there.
Yeah.
In the same in the military, when you've got someone, in the military, if you've got a good leader, you will work for them. You know, the cost or what you'll get a day was like 50 quid a day or something when you're in the mill, I don't know what it works out to be, isn't even a thought, because you think, I like you, I can work, I'll work for you, I'll follow you. And that's not really a thing in civilry. It's not really the same sort of wiring, because it is all about cost. It is all about money, and that is the only incentive for people to work for you. Yeah,
totally. I mean, when I was in leadership's a fascinating topic. When I was in corporate construction, I was looking back. I was a shit leader. I was still got my army head on. I was very autocratic, I'm almost a bully, to be honest. I look back and go, like, I can't believe them people didn't fucking fill me in talking to them like that.
Yeah.
And then when I set my own business up, it was something I started to work on straight away, and I still work on now. Like being a good leader, being a good manager, being a good boss requires you to, it does require you to change your personality, I believe.
Yeah, but there is a transition from military to civilry.
Oh, massive.
For that, I was exactly the same.
Massive,
where if you tell someone to do something, you expect it to be done.
Yeah.
But this is a different world.
Well, is it expected to be done? I think it's a little bit further than that. I don't think in the military, I don't think you expect it to be done. I think you immediately presume that it has been done.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And I think there's a difference. I don't think there's any future sort of, this will get done. I've said it, so it's happening.
It's happening, and there's nothing. Yeah, it's going to.
There's no question. It'll just be done.
Yeah.
And I think that when you bring that thinking out into civilry, and you quickly realise that's not the fucking case.
It really isn't. I remember when I was working for Helen, and went to Nottingham. Nottingham, was it Langley Mill? Langley Mill, Nottingham. There's a factory there, and there was a guy who was having a bit of a hard time, and he was in the office where I was working, and I went to walk in the office, and the guy I was working for, my manager, if you will, said, "Oh no, don't come in here." I forgot his name, this other guy. He's asleep. He's having a bit of a hard time at home, and just going to let him sleep in his office here. And you're taking a fucking piss. He's on like 40, 50 grand in. You let him come to work to go to sleep. But I have that mindset now. But they should have just sent him home. Do you know what I mean? But I had my military head on then, and I was fucking furious. I was like, "You're fucking joking? What do you mean he's just sleeping in the office? What's all that about?" But leadership is a really interesting topic. I'm obsessed with it. How people, you get Alexander the Great, and dare I say it, Hitler was a charismatic person. I know I did that.
Yeah.
Was a charismatic person. Winston Churchill, Napoleon, all these guys were fantastic leaders by what they spoke. Not they were average soldiers, let's say. Maybe not Alexander the Great, but fantastic leaders by what they said, and people just followed them from what they say. And there's a lot to be learned there in any industry, because anyone can be a manager, but to be a leader is completely different.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, totally. Sorry.
Mine's going to go mad as well.
We are coming towards the end, mate.
Yeah, cool.
So let me ask you a final question. If you could change one thing in the construction industry that would have the biggest impact, what would it be? If you could wave your magic wand.
For me, or for the industry as a whole?
For the industry at large. That everybody would benefit from.
I think we touched on it before. I think it does need to be regulated. I think it's too easy for people to just buy a van and a set of tools and away they go. I think handymen should be a thing. That is a handyman thing. But when you get handymen building extensions, it becomes a completely different thing, and that happens, and that's what needs to be regulated.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. I think we should use the NIC, EIC type model. You should have a license or some sort of form of qualification for you to prove to a customer in a domestic field, even commercial. So I'm capable. Here we go. Stuff that can't be bought on the internet, because CIS cards can be bought on the internet, and they do get bought on the internet.
Yeah.
It's quite mad. What about you?
What would I change?
Yeah.
What I would change is a I think mine's much deeper and bigger, but I'm all on board with that. Deeper and bigger for me would be the process that I teach to deliver a project is a legal and mandatory one.
Right.
And I say that because it removes all the problems where somebody in the relationship loses. That process removes that.
Right.
So everybody wins, everybody gets profit, no one gets hurt, it's all compliant. The customer gets what they want, builder gets what they want, the universe gets what they want, the economy gets what they want, the tenant, the end user gets what they want. And if everybody was legally bound to follow that process, everybody wins.
So the whole structure, the umbrella, it needs to be an umbrella, is what you're saying, because there isn't one.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing at all.
There's no wonder it gets called the fucking Wild West and everybody gets labelled a cowboy.
True.
Because that's what it's like.
Yeah.
Sad, but true. Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, mate.
Cheers.
Fucking brilliant. Thank you, mate. Thanks for sticking around till the end. All the social handles from both of us are below. I'll see you in the next one.